The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show.
Question 1, regarding quality checks, how do you create an environment where staff don't feel like they're ratting on each other? Good question. Also, what does the process look like? Do they fix the problems they find? These are also good. Should it be? Okay, I'm going to go one at a time because each of these questions is great. The way we create the environment where they aren't ratting on each other is core values. So have fun, right? Me going, Don's shit, this is garbage, blah, 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 blah. Not fun. Be real. Maybe he is, but that's not a very nice way to go about it. Help out. It's not helpful for me to just shit on Don because I don't like him or because I feel like I can. Make money. Certainly not going to make anyone money to yell at John. So A, core values, and B, the fact that they're all checking on each other goes a long way. That's why it's so important not to have Caitlin checks on everyone, because then Caitlin just gets this big chest and she's like, oh, I could do that. You know, she starts getting real picky and real. But when Caitlin knows tables are going to be turned tomorrow or today, right? Like if she's checking a Don's, well, Tim's checking hers. Really keeps the humility when it's not just I'm up here looking down on y'all. We all check each other's work. So the way that the system is designed, if you have core values people, it won't turn like that because, you know, Caitlin, if everyone knows Caitlin's, I don't know a better word, bitchy about cleans. Sorry, Caitlin, you're delightful. Fake Caitlin, Fakelin. If Fakelin's super bitchy, guess who's going to get little bitchiness coming back her way when it's her turn? Caitlin. So the energy should be, I'm checking Claire because I want her to be amazing. And I want her to check me because I want to be amazing. Not, oh, I'm going to settle her hash. I've been waiting to take her down a peg. Like, so it's really core values, right? Because the person that comes in that way, you can't fix them. If that's who I am, I'm ready to teach everyone what time it is because I know everything. No one else knows anything. Systems and process ain't going to fix it. But when I'm the right guy, that's like, hey, I want to do better. Yeah, Caitlin, if you see something, let me know. I don't want to do a shitty job. Please tell me. And I'm like, hey, Tim, you did a great job. You know, my energy just would never be like, Tim, this is garbage. Are you stupid? Like, I don't even know how to train out of that. So core values and the fact that they're all training each other will keep that in check. Second piece of that, what does that process look like? Schedulers should schedule all of it. Typically after they're done with their shift, they would go check others because they're done. I would make sure on the residential side, commercial, it shouldn't matter. Residential side, make sure people are opted in. Either you have access just so people know, right? Because I might be like, I don't want any of that. I don't want checks. I don't want any of that. And I know my quality might not be as good, which is good. Because if I could complain, you go, well, you did opt in. We're going to fix it. Don't worry. But you did opt out of our quality control process.
Wait, you're talking about clients. The clients are opted in.
Yes.
Okay.
Not opted in. I'm going to make it their default, but they should be aware and they can opt out. So the default would be they're opted in, but you have to tell them. And if like, I don't really want, like, cool, no worries. But then again, if I bitch about quality, of course you're going to fix it, but you might mention, well, we're going to come fix it. But if we could come in and do the checks, the quality be a little better. And that's going to make me go, well, I did opt out of the, it's going to just make me a little more tolerant of a mistake because I'm not following your system. Right. Okay. So scheduler should schedule it. Every team should do at least one per week. That's all. Just one per week.
Wait, they're doing it by teams?
Yeah. That team, whoever is on, if Thursday's the day you're going to sign that team, whoever's on that team should do at least one a week.
Okay.
So there shouldn't be a week where they do none. And if they need to do a couple because there's some that need help or it's a new one or someone had a complaint, they can always do more is fine because you're just going to pay them the regular thing. But one a week is usually good. So that's how I do that and have the schedule.
How do you pay them for that? Do you just pay them for their time or
same as any other job? So one switch, right? Whatever you would pay to go to any other job, they pay it. And as opposed to 2.5 hour clean, you pay them for a 17-minute clean or whatever the case may be.
Okay. All right.
Or I should say check.
Okay. And then if they find problems during the check, they fix them?
Of course, 1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. Yeah. Like Lindsay, she came on this call. She was doing a great job. There's a couple things I wanted to add. I didn't be like, this is Lindsay. I'm not going to mention. Of course I'm going to jump in. So yeah, the whole goal is to make sure the client gets a better experience. So absolutely fix it. Don't be like rub their nose in it. Like the whole point is to get better. So yeah, I would absolutely fix it. Just looking at your question, do they fix problems they find? Yes. Should there be a form? Yeah, same form. So not a different form. So which is helpful for the customer happiness manager. She should have a form or he should have a form from all the cleans. And then she can combine the check clean with the like, Claire and Capri did the job and they have this form, and then Cindy and Jessica checked it and they have this form and they match up, I feel pretty good about it. When there's a big difference, I might go out and do it as a customer happiness manager. I might want to put my eyes on that, or just call the client and make sure everything went okay. So they should use the same form for any clean.
Okay.
All right. And then what about things that are done well? That's what we want to focus on. Like, my goal is to catch people doing stuff right. I don't want to shit on people. I want to be like, oh my gosh, Capri, I felt so nice when I came in. It looked great. You know, if I was really nitpicking, I'd notice this one little thing. No big deal. It was overall great. I fixed it. Just want to give you a heads up. That's the energy that we want. And if it's a really, really shitty job, that would be maybe the customer happiness manager. Like, I'm going to talk to them and let them handle it, and maybe take a quick picture or video, not to be shitty, not to be like, I've got it, just to have some data. But generally it should be, to the degree that you can, 80% good or 90% good and 10% like, here's what you did, here's what you can improve on. And again, if it's just a dumpster fire, you're still going to be kind about it, but you can't dress up it is what it is.
Okay.
I think there's one more. How about arranging checks with the clients? They should just know, how does the scheduling of the checks happen? Scheduler. Cool. You feel good on all that before I go into number 2?
Yeah. Does it have to happen immediately after the clean, or as close?
Same day? Yeah. Because if it's a week later, like, well, now I'm not going to listen to anything you check. So same day, sooner the better. But if there's an hour or two in between, so be it. Okay. And if, say, there's an hour or two between and I came home with my 3 kids and the place looks like a bomb hit it, I would just say, hey, we're here to check. We told you about it. How did it look? I'm just going to do an interview and be like, how was it? Like, it is what it is. And I don't think you'll have a lot of that. Okay. Question 2. 2 of my 3 staff have said they can't make the Monday morning meetings anymore. That's a huge core values red flag. I've lost 2 qualified candidates because of the meeting. They weren't qualified. You lost 2 candidates, not qualified candidates. It's too far to drive for a half-hour meeting. I'm considering switching to a Zoom meeting. What job? Okay. So what's going on is, like, 2 of the people that work for me have a 20-minute drive. How is this meeting in the midst of where the cleaning is going to be, or is it some weird third place?
No, it's in kind of the center of our thing.
So then that's their problem. If they're like, I live 20 minutes away from where the job happens, you're like, well, that's the job. Like, that would be the same as if they come in Monday through Friday and like, this is really far. I'm like, well, our office is where our office is. So you shouldn't have taken the job. Like, I had a guy at my car dealership, one of our F&I managers, he lived 50, 60 minutes away and then almost never works. And I told him that and tried to not take him. I'll be danged if he didn't stay for years. Was a great guy, Dave Stetz. It worked out fine, but that's the exception, not the rule. And if he said these meetings are too far, I'd be like, then you shouldn't have taken the job, dude. This is what it's like, me taking the job and going, this is a lot of hard work. Can I get less work? You're like, no, it's the job. So if you're holding the meetings at some random place that's super far and they bitch, that's fine. But if you're holding it where the job is and they're like, I don't like having to come to the job, I'm like, don't come. Like, that's a weird, again, your job is to hold the meeting somewhere reasonable to where we've agreed this is the work area, right? If it's 30 minutes from that's on you. Put it in the middle of the thing and you drive if you're far away. But if it's in the middle of the work thing, they come every day for work. They just, what they're saying is,
they don't come every day for work though.
But they do, because say your thing's similar to where they're, every day they work, they come, right? Like, so if your meeting's here and all their things are 5 or 10 minutes away, when they come from wherever they come every day that they work to that general area. And it's the same 20 minutes. They're making in their thing. I'm deciding cleaning is worth a 20-minute drive to make $10 an hour. Your meetings are not worth a 20-minute drive to make the same $10 an hour. You're like, well, then don't come. So what they're saying is, I want to decide the parts of the job that I think are important, and that's what I'm willing to do. And you go, best of luck. That would be like me going, I don't do toilets. Like, well, then this job ain't for you. Like, well, I think it's unfair that you would ask me. I'm like, think whatever you want. That's fine. But no, I'm not, just like I was mentioning to Dawn, I don't change my company policy and what's right for the company for any single employee or 2 or 3 employees. But I would vehemently, having done this I've just had hundreds of employees. If they're bitching about the meeting, they're the wrong person. Like, the people, perfectly, we're all going to go to the event. Jackson's in Wisconsin, or where the hell is he at? Milwaukee, sorry. Lindsay's in Jersey. Obviously, we pay for their travel. And Lindsay's, her husband's never come. She leaves her husband for every trip that you're at. She just leaves him. I don't ask. She didn't complain. So that's not far. And it would be reasonable. She did. Right. She's like, that's a long way to go, but she's the right goddamn person. And she loves doing it. And it's not even a like, well, I get paid enough and Mike, I like Mike. So I'll do it. She loves it. It's part of it. She's like, I wouldn't miss it for the world. That's how the whole team is. Could you imagine them going, I don't know, Mike, these freaking meetings and Claire's going to be there. You know, she's a pain in my ass. Like, what, it would be weird. Like, well, then why are you working here, man? That's the job. So coming to the place that you work for one, and again, if there are daily meetings or, they were oppressive, I get it. But once a week, and how are they filling up their supplies anyway? That's what should be happening at the meeting. So I'm just not going to take it. I'm just like, no worries. I have a hiring funnel that 1,000 good people will come, and I'll just hire people that are closer and that are super into the meeting.
Right. Okay.
So you can go Zoom. It's just, like, hey, what's the benefit of Zoom versus whatever? This will be your first event. Ask anyone that's been to an event and they'll go, oh my gosh, that's not even this. It's just different. I mean, it's hard to quantify, but it just changes everything. Like, that's why I tell new people to next level, like, oh, just come to an, once you go to an event, you're not the new person anymore. Even if you're here for 2 months, you're still kind of the new person until we do an event, and then we're all just people. Or you could be here for 1 day, come to an event, and you're less new than the guy that's been there 2 months. It doesn't. There's something magical happens about human beings being in space. And again, that's what you're paying them for. Put your body in this place and do this thing. So I just would be like, all right, I totally get it. I'm not mad at them. I'm just like, well, that's the job. And make sure the meetings are fun, right? The meetings should be where we go over all this stuff about the reviews. The customer happiness manager goes over all that. Like, I don't need any feedback. I don't want any of that. I don't want to see my fellow people. I don't want to fill out my stuff. I don't care about it. It's too far. I'm like, wow, sounds like you just want to, not this job, a better job than this. I would go find that dude, but that's what this job looks like. And once a week is wildly reasonable.
Okay.
Cool. And again, same thing I said to Don. I'm not mad at you if you have them over Zoom. Like, you're not bad. I'm not, I just, it won't be the same.
I get what you're saying. I might try the Zoom thing though. Just because if I lose 2 people right now, I just get I can't operate.
So the problem is not the Zoom meeting, it's the hiring funnel. That's what we should be talking about. How many applicants did you get? How many people are showing up to your interviews? How many starts? We need that, where most of the people in here, feel free to contradict me if I'm wrong, are turning people away. They're like, oh, I've got, I want to turn down my funnel. I've got too many people. So that's where we want to be, where that's a hiring funnel issue. So you're like, oh, if they leave, I'm screwed. Therefore, I'm going to modify my business to them. I'm like, well, then you're screwed anyway. It's really a hiring funnel problem.
Right. Okay.
Real quick, Cleaning Nation, if you can think about how you found out about this podcast, maybe a tweet, a Facebook message, iTunes search, some sort of Instagram post, the only way we grow is word of mouth. We don't do paid ads. We don't run ads. You are it. The only ask I have is if you're getting value, share the love. However you found out about this, if it was a review or post, whatever it is, do that. Pay it forward so the next cleaning company owner can change their life as well. Back to the show.
Okay, last question. I would like to build my business so that most of the growth comes from referrals. How would I set this kind of system up? Don't know. Never done. I mean, we always get lots of referrals and our clients have been the best, but it's just not scalable. Like, I don't like things that aren't controllable. Although I do want to tell you guys, I've just discovered this, didn't do it on purpose, because I love you and I appreciate you. You guys are also amazing about giving reviews. I've been just thanking you personally as you give reviews. Every time I thank somebody with no goal other than like John, who I think was the last person. Although every time someone gives a review, they don't show up the next meeting. Like Brandon Schau gave us a beautiful review and I wanted to thank him today, but he's not here. So John, you gave me a review, you didn't show up. Every time I thank someone publicly for a review, another review shows up. Wasn't even my point, but it's just starting to happen. I'm like, well, shit, maybe I should do this more often. So for you guys, I would find a way to publicly thank people that are giving you good reviews in front of other people. Like when we talk about those wine and cheese events or events, thank the people. And I don't ask for reviews. You guys are just amazing human beings, where I thank John and Claire, who's already given me reviews. So I'm not busting your chops, Claire. Was like, I should do that. So just something I've noticed from you amazing people. Just thank your people publicly for reviews. And I'm assuming the same thing would go with referrals, right? You start thanking people for referrals in a group setting, more come. That said, all of my referrals and reviews have always come pretty organically. We don't do anything to get them. We have a harder time here because you guys are weird about, I don't want anyone to know my magic secret sauce, which is like, don't be that way. But we don't fight you on it. The big thing I would say, John, is I just don't like anything I can't control. Like, and it's limited, right? Because it's not, you can't grow, you can't scale because you can only get, you can only typically get 1 or 2 referrals, maybe 3 or 4 from typically, we don't have to get on to referrals, but typically there's 3 kinds. People that are never going to refer, people that are referred, which is a small amount, 10, 20%, people that will, and this is all assuming you do a good job and they like you, probably 70, 80% will refer, 0 to 3 people a year, just depending on circumstance and how you do it. And then there's 10 or 20% of the people that are going to be like super referrers. They're constantly giving you referrals. So that math is that math, right? So depending on your client list, say, I'm just going to make it easy. Say you've got 10 clients and 1 or 2 are super refers or 1 or 2 never refer and whatever. If you do the math, it's like, well, that's only going to get me another, God willing, 10 or 20 clients this year. So, and I'm probably going to lose some clients just because that's how this business works. It doesn't grow quick enough. So I love referrals. They're kind of like LSAs. I love LSAs, but they cap. There's only so many you can get, and that's that. So the question, I don't like the question. I would like to build my business so most of the growth comes from referrals. I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying I'm not the guy to coach you how to do that. There's probably someone that's like, I'm a referral expert. That's how I build all my businesses. And he can probably help you. Maybe
a better question would be, why is the people that are calling me through Google and LSA, it seems like those are such crap connects.
That's a better question. So let me rephrase it, because I know exactly how you feel. That's not the reality. So the reality is, when we do grow mostly from repeat and referrals, it feels amazing because you close 80% of who you talk to, right? Like, again, that's why I
walk into those referrals and they're like, yeah, we'll hire you.
Yeah, like and it's great. So just same thing with the event, because I'm lazy and I'm like, I don't want to talk to all these people at a stupid event and I don't have to live with them and I want a referral. That's why I was like, hey guys, and I don't usually ask for referrals, but for the event, I'm like, oh, hook a brother up. Because they're just going to be easy. And I trust, again, if it's a friend of Jessica's, I'm sure I could live with them for 3 months or 3 days. It'll be great. So great way to do it. Like, this is perfect. But if I was like, I'm going to fill that event just on referrals, well, then that's crazy talk. So we get spoiled with referrals, and we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with it. Like, I love referrals. Those are the easiest ones in the world. They just give me the money and they're the best clients, and we skip and hold hands and it's the best. All true. The problem is it's not scalable. So when you move into scalable, you get into what real marketing feels like, and if you're going to scale a multi-million-dollar business, none of them I shouldn't say none of them, very few, unless you're like Amway, or I don't even know how you do it. Like, use some multi-level marketing gig. It's very hard to scale exclusively, like 90+%, probably 99+% scale with many different marketing channels, referrals being one of them. And again, if you are like Tesla, would be a good example of someone that I think they don't do a lot of advertising. They've spent so much money on that product and it is so freaking good. So it's like, well, you could be category changing and just be the best, 1 in a billion. That's the way you can grow solely on referrals. Like, that sounds expensive and hard and risky. I'm like, I know it is. So that is one way to do it, is just have this spectacular thing. If you look at a bunch of online companies that have just grown kind of whatever, if you're a game changer for some reason, then you can just grow with referrals. But I haven't built $1 billion business because I did some, space changing thing that I could refer you to. Even if I did, I'd probably tell you, well, 70% of it was luck. So get that. And here's the 30% of the work I did. So yes, when you get to what I would call real marketing, or scalable, repeatable, dependable, scalable marketing, the quality is going to be far worse, but there's an infinite amount. So not an infinite amount, comparatively infinite. So with your referrals, let's just say there's a bucket. If you got 100% of the referrals that you could get 100 new clients this year, I don't even think it'd be that high, but let's just say you got all of them perfectly somehow. Everyone was super motivated to give you referrals. You got 100 new clients. With marketing, you get 10,000, right? So
yeah,
that's just how it goes, by the way. The more traffic you go, the more muck you've got to get through, which isn't fun, but that's the cost of scale.
My guess is that the referrals seem disproportionately big to me right now because my business is so small. And as I get bigger, it probably will reverse.
I would say it's that, and you're probably not doing a bunch of other marketing stuff. So because referrals are so leveraged, you don't have to spend any money. They're all great, blah, 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 blah. And then you spend $500 on marketing and you get 7 leads and only 2 of them are any good. It's like, wow, that was a pain in the ass. But if that one turns into a $300-$400 a month client, and you can say, what if I did that again and again? Or instead of sending out 500 door hangers, send out 5,000. Like, it's just much more scalable.
Yeah. I mean, I just spent $400 on a postcard that was sent out, and I got one call that was not a qualified client, and that was it out of that.
So let's not now, but send me the actual data. A, send me the postcard. B, send me how many you sent. And then C, because $400 doesn't mean anything to me, but I sent 400 postcards to these doors and here's the copy. Then we can look and be like, okay, here's what do we need to do to get you? Because if it's 400, we're looking for a 1% response rate, which is only 4. So 1 ain't great, but, and again, 2% would be great. I'm not saying you can only get 1, but
right.
We're not looking for
500. 500 were sent out. I got 1 response.
Yeah, you should have gotten 5. 3 to 10 would be kind of more green light. So, okay, let's look at the postcard. Let's look at the doors you sent, and let's look at the offer you made, and we'll tweak it and try again. Okay. I was telling Claire this. Online marketing is nice because you can track a bunch of stuff and get a bunch of data immediately, right? So that part's nice. Like I did a headline, I put $100 to it. I split test and put $50 to this headline fits, and I can see exactly who wins. And I can just the speed of testing is great, but it burns out quick. Like you get a headline that works for 3 weeks. Now I need another one. So it's just constantly doing it, but you get data instantly, which is great. Offline stuff like old school direct mail takes longer to get a piece that works, but when it works, you can just send that. There have been multi-million dollar businesses have had one direct response, either mailer or magazine ad that they built $100 million over the last 20, 30 years and it remains unchanged.
Right.
So it's okay if your first, not the goal, but completely reasonable if your first direct mail piece has a poor result, because if it takes you 2 or 3 iterations to get it right, that thing might work for 6 months or 6 years. Whereas on Facebook, you can iterate and get a headline that works, but it'll only work for 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
Right.
And if you're like, oh, why would I do the online stuff? Because you get a bunch of headlines that work and then you recycle them. Once they kind of peter out, you hold it and then you try it again in 6 months, it's likely to work again. So there's pros and cons to each. Okay. But either way, direct mail, online marketing, far more scalable than referrals. Less quality, but not garbage quality or bad quality, just a different game. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Great questions. My pleasure.
Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. That's 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.